So as a kid, I was the biggest nerd you can imagine. Um, am I still the biggest nerd you can imagine? That's for you to decide. Not the point of this video. But as a kid, I definitely was. And I used to spend enormous amounts of time playing Dungeons and Dragons. And I was the dungeon master. I would be the person building the worlds and creating the stories. And it was a ton of fun. And it probably gave me a sense of like control over this imaginary world I'm creating. It was a creative outlet. And I loved it. And I haven't played that game in decades. And I sometimes think back to how much fun it was. And it's like, it would be really cool to play that game with friends, with my kids or something. And then I'm like, but it's so much work. It's so time consuming. And I just don't have that kind of time. But also, like my creative ambition, like I find outlet for my creativity through my work, right? I find the act of creating a business, building a business, enormously creative. And I just don't feel that need anymore. And so I don't think it's unusual that there's something that was a really great, valuable part of your life. And it's just, I loved it. It was a lot of fun. And that's just not where I am anymore. And that can happen on a lot of levels. I think it's really important to think through, like, what was I getting out of it? Am I still getting that from something, right? Making sure your needs are met. But I don't think it's so important to just be nostalgic for try to recapture things that were valuable or meaningful in previous chapters of your life. This applies in a business too, right? If you think about things we used to do in business, sometimes it's like, yeah, we should keep that alive. Other times it's like, maybe there are other ways to accomplish that now. And that was just a happy chapter in the past of what we built, but it's not the present. It's not the future. It's important to have room for reinvention. I've gone through a bunch of cycles of reinvention, personally and professionally. And it always comes out better, right? It's always, you end up somewhere better, but you've got to make room for those new things first. I'd have a lot more time to play Dungeons and Dragons if I didn't have kids, but I much prefer having kids. I would have more need for that creative outlet if I wasn't building my business, but I kind of like building my business. So sacrifice is a very misunderstood concept. People fixate on the giving up part of it, like what you're giving up. But sacrifice is giving something up to get something better. And seen through that lens, I mean, sacrifice all day and all night. Yeah, it's bittersweet because you are giving something up, but life keeps getting better. So onward.